Hello, fellow Earthlings, planet-positive people. Welcome to the EcoFix, the show where I tell you about everything from common sense, simple fixes to high-tech innovations that will reverse runaway problems like climate change and the marine plastic pollution crisis. We're about to go behind the scenes and meet the incredible cast of characters, the scientists, the activists, the engineers, the environmental leaders, the thought leaders, the bold politicians, and then the ultimate political shake-up artists, the citizens just like you who are working hard to get this planet back on track and make it a better place. You may not realize how many incredible solutions are already up and running or soon will be. These are the eco stories you need to know. Let's start with our warming planet. One of the things we have to do is lower our carbon emissions. Don't believe me? What about the peek we got into what happens when we stop using carbon-spewing fossil fuels during the quarantines to stop the spread of the coronavirus? Check out the satellite imagery of the drastic drop in air pollution over China during their lockdown of February and March. Now, I'm not saying we all have to stay at home forever to stop climate change. There is another way. If we have a world powered by wind, water, and solar rather than coal, oil, and gas, we would cut our carbon dioxide emissions by 55%. That is huge. Which brings me to my very special guest, Mark Ruffalo. He's probably most famous for playing Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, the Avengers movie hero. During a 30-year career as an actor, producer, and director, he's received 3 Academy Award nominations. He has won numerous Film Critic and Screen Actors Guild Awards for the intense and beautifully nuanced characters he brings to life on screen. Off screen, he is a tireless, larger-than-life environmental and social justice advocate. He's an anti-fracking crusader. He's on a mission to bring clean water and clean energy to all of America. He has hosted bus tours through neighborhoods in Los Angeles where underrepresented communities live right alongside toxic oil acidizing operations. He narrated and produced the documentary Dear President Obama, The Clean Energy Revolution is Now. Mark is also the co-founder of the Solutions Project, a one-stop renewable energy shop. Back when Mark was fighting to get fracking banned in his home state of New York, he asked Stanford environmental engineer Mark Jacobson if New York could possibly run on 100% renewable energy. In less than 24 hours, Jacobson produced a 30-page document proving that yes, it could be done. The two Marks joined forces and the Solutions Project was born. They now have blueprints for the whole of the US and most countries in the world running on 100% wind, water, solar. Mark and I had a low-carbon Zoom sit-down during the coronavirus shelter-in-place, aka stay-at-home orders.
And black frame glasses that are slightly tinted.
Because then we get the denim and stereo.
Yes, that's really nice.
After we got the important stuff sorted, we got into the lessons coming out of this pandemic. The possibilities for reducing air pollution, the way the planet responded so quickly when it got a break from us. The thing that I think has really taken everyone by surprise and that is such a cool thing to see is how quickly nature has bounced back. You know, the animals lounging around in national parks and, you know, taking to the streets.
The canals are clearing and the ozone is healing itself and there's all kinds of really positive outcomes from this. You know, what's interesting is, which I don't think we've really gotten into yet, is the amount of data that's going to be, that's going to come out of this time that we couldn't get any other way. And I just think what we're going to see is, first of all, how resilient Mother Nature is. And the other thing is just, you know, how impactful this lack of carbon is going to be, just on everything from air quality to water quality, to quality of life. These are things that we couldn't have measured any other way. And so there are some gifts that come out of COVID-19. I do think that now that we've glimpsed what a world post-carbon could be and feel and look like, we have kind of a true north. We kind of have an idea of where we could head and what is waiting on the other side of that rainbow if we do head there.
Okay, so then my next question is, how do we head there? You know, you and I have known this for so long. This is where we need to, be moving. We need to be moving to this post-carbon world. We've got this glimpse of it. They say that, the taking our foot off the pedal just for this few months is going to lessen our carbon emissions by 8% this year.
Yeah.
But, how can we make that, more long-term?
I guess the other gift of this time is what it exposes in the systems that we're living in now. And what really is apparent is the inequity of the system. That whole groups of people, races of people, people of color are being left out and are being marginalized. And COVID-19 could be viewed also as just a concentrated form of climate change. All of the systems that we need to be healthy in order to handle climate change with any kind of grace happen to be all the same systems that are showing weakness with COVID-19. Our healthcare system, our food systems, our working class systems, our economic system. We're leaving this carbon paradigm behind. It's just a better system ahead of us, and it's more, solar is, I think, a year away from being cheaper than coal or gas or natural gas. Wind is already there. We finally have the economic wind in our sails to make this transition. But how do we do it is the question, right? What you're asking. It's going to happen one way or another. The writing's on the wall. This reality we're experiencing now is only going to compound. COVID-19 has forced us to change our behavior. We had a choice in how we were going to approach climate change maybe 10, 20 years ago. We even have a little bit of a choice today. But the window on our choices are closing. And so we're going to be forced to face a reality that will make us change, force us to change our behavior, just like what's happening with COVID today, as I see it. And I've seen in the last, 8 years, people's minds change radically on the idea of climate change, on the idea of the of renewable energy, and the actual implementation of it.
The renewable energy revolution is happening. We can have a government like the government that we have right now in the US that's really dragging its feet and is, holding on to their bad boyfriend, the fossil fuel industry, they should have kicked that guy to the curb a long time ago, as we know.
Yeah, it's a lousy boyfriend.
Is it always going to be on civil society to keep pushing our leaders to be doing the right things?
Hasn't it always been? Even like in New York State, Governor Cuomo was well down the road of fracking New York State, and we used the stick and the carrot. And I've really come to admire the guy because he turned it around. He was a full-on fossil fuel guy. He believed that's where the jobs were for the state. He believed that's where income for the state was, and we put in front of him Mark Jacobson's plan to take New York State to 100% renewable energy. We bird-dogged him. We made his life uncomfortable. Well, at the same time, we were always offering a graceful exit that would be better for the New York State economy and better for the resiliency of New York State. And we had some help by Mother Nature, and that was a wake-up call. Mother Nature forced us to face a reality that we were in denial of. And then once that reality showed itself, we had to change our behavior. And now this governor is taking New York State to 100% renewable energy faster than anybody else. And that was the whole principle of the Solutions Project. That's why it was called Solutions. It was to offer a science-based, economy-based, community-based anecdote to the problems that we're facing with climate change and fossil fuel production.
I tell people about the Solutions Project all the time, because when I heard Mark talk at UCLA once, and he said, look, I've got these blueprints for how the whole world, we switch to, wind, water, solar. And I'm like, okay, this is like a magic trick this guy's got for, the renewable energy revolution. But when he said, if we put solar panels on all existing roofs, not build new buildings, but just all existing roofs, that would be 11% of the world's electricity generated like that.
Listen, when we started the Solution Project, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we were being laughed out of the room of every major green organization, NRDC, Sierra Club. People just thought we were crazy. There was no imagination in the world that we would ever see a time in our lifetimes where we were able to move off of fossil fuels, either because of the politics or just because people's ignorance to the issue. And I guess that's what the Solutions Project was really about, was creating a space of possibility using science, because we all felt it, and we all, anyone who's been fighting for this for the last 30 years and saw climate change on the horizon, all knew we had to make this transition, but no one believed it was possible. And there wasn't enough science backing it up. And economically, we just weren't in the right place, but now we are.
You're feeling like we're close to some sort of tipping point, and that COVID could kind of tip us over because, if not now, when, and the when is here?
I do. I think this is an assist, and we have to start imagining that, the beauty of this new world we're talking about. We actually don't have to imagine it. We get to see it in real time. We get to see Los Angeles's air clean up and stay that way for 2 months. We get to see Delhi clean up. We get to see the swans and the animals and the fish come back into the canals of Venice. We get to see that we don't have to have this busyness. We can enjoy our families and the quality of our lives without all of this. I'm never gonna do disposable travel again. We have this technology, it works fucking great, okay? I don't have to go to LA for a meeting. I don't wanna get in a plane. We have proof of concept that we can live this way, and we're actually living better. Now the question is making sure that we all get to enjoy this, and not just a few of us. But there's more, like Mark Jacobson's work on the jobs. We're going to create 5 million more jobs than we lose by transitioning away from fossil fuels.
I don't think people get how great renewable energy is going to be for us on so many different levels.
I agree, which is why we have you, Belinda, because you're going to tell these stories, and that's why you have this show, and that's why the show is important. I watch your stuff. Your take is the possibility, and that's what life is possibility. And so that's the story you're telling, and you got a big job ahead of you. And I'm happy to assist you.
Thank you so much.
You're amazing. Keep it up, Belinda.
You're amazing. Thank you for all that you do, Mark.
You too, pal. Really.
Okay. All right.
Love your shirt.
Right back at you. So what do we know now that we didn't know before? Instead of the carbon reducing baby steps that we've been resisting taking because we thought they'd be too hard, we got forced into extreme carbon emission reductions mode. And it wasn't so bad. We learned to socialize and do our work via Zoom. We had a really nice time staying close to home and being with our kids, mostly. What about for those of us who commute, the huge benefits? I mean, no jet lag, thousands of hours of productive work time and precious family time all gained back. Not to mention saying goodbye to the health impacts of a commute like this twice a day, every day. With Zoom and remote working, it's gone. Twitter, Google, Facebook, they are all talking about remote working being more of a norm for their employees. Better for their employees, better for the planet. The European Union is investing heavily in the green sector as part of their coronavirus recovery economic planning. There are also cities that are so thrilled with their blue, clean skies that they are putting in more bike paths and bike-friendly commuter systems. They're Copenhagenizing. The renewable energy solution is more than just a possibility. Solar generation has increased by 5,000% in the past decade. There is enough wind in Texas, Kansas, and North Dakota to power the continental US from coast to coast. It's It's now time for Eco-Fixations, the everyday things we can do to be part of the fix. One of the biggies is what a more sustainable relationship with plastic looks like. I met up with comedian, actress, producer, published author, and the first Latina to have her own primetime television show, Cristela Alonso, to get her take on where we're going wrong. Cristela is an eco-nerd and a wannabe astronaut. Check out her NASA leisure wear. She also challenges the very idea of single use and what disposable means. So we're doing a park up, kind of cop and informant style, except today we've got a NASA astronaut and me.
The word disposable is just a suggestion. Everything that people say is disposable is not disposable. If I buy a disposable razor and I use it once, and I can still use it twice, I'm not gonna have that moment where like, whoa, well, I'm supposed to use it once. If it works, right? So I will use it again, especially traveling when I'm on the road doing shows. I don't have the ability to pack all this stuff, so I try to reuse as much as I can. That's the thing that people don't understand. When you grow up with the disposable cups, disposable plates, my family used plastic, like styrofoam plates, like they were real plates, so we would eat and then we would wash it and then boom, we had more plates, First generation Mexican American, we really didn't have a lot of money, so we were very, we were like MacGyvers, right? You had to create your own thing, you had to make them last, right? So it was this thing where, when I was a little kid, we used to have the gallons of milk, right? And after we'd finished the gallons of milk, every once in a while, we would cut the top of the gallon of milk and we would store our tools in it. We had no toolbox. We didn't even know toolboxes existed. We had no idea, because the idea of keeping tools in a box that's more expensive than the tools had made no sense to us. So that was my life. That was my existence. Then I moved to Los Angeles, which is this big city where everybody has to have plastic everything. The amount of privilege that they have in the way that they eat out, in the way that they shop. You go to a grocery store and the grocery store will get an orange and peel it for you and then put it in a plastic container, because God knows we don't have the time to peel.
Like I'm obsessive about composting. Like I do not want to put any scrap of anything that could rot into the garbage.
Do you go into the garbage sometimes and take out food if someone's accidentally put food?
All the time. Like what is this? This doesn't go in here. How many times do I got to tell you? Like, banana peels are not like, they break down in the compost bin, If it smells bad in 2 days, it's biodegradable.
So this is the EcoFix shot during quarantine. Next time, I'll be talking wind turbines with Mark Jacobson. In the meantime, I'll leave you with some eco-fixing resources. Check out the Solutions Project website, get inspired, get involved, and if you qualify for a grant, get assistance with renewable energy for your community. Start composting, get a bin. The FCMP tumbling composter is great, or get a service. Nearly half the world's solid waste is organic and biodegradable, so composting really lowers carbon emissions. Ask Mark if you don't believe me. Voting is the most important action you can take right now. Find the best Green New Deal candidates to back on the Sunrise Movement's website. See you soon for your next EcoFix.